And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that lovely break as we have returned with our qualifying match. We've returned here with a best of 5 PvP. We're ready for it to determine who will be the first to make it, or the second even, to make it through into the closed qualifier from the ESL Masters Spring 2024 Asia Open Qualifier number 1. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have our Taiwanese Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless. It is ButAlways. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing team PCEC. It is Jim. Now we'll quickly try to set up the players and set up the names here as well. Bam, beautiful. You do love to see it. And as a reminder, this is a best of 5 because it's a qualifying match. We're going all the way here for a best of 5, at least 3 games, at most 5 games. We are here to go the distance. I would love to see an ace match, but we'll see how our players compare to each other. Again, both Jim and ButAlways, they have taken some time off. ButAlways, he also did retire for a time as well. It was a couple of years ago where he was a little more active, a little more consistent in his play, in his skill, in his even competitive form. But ButAlways did take a bit of a backseat in recent years, which is why I'm excited to see some more ButAlways action. As I'm quickly just setting up the predictions in the chat. If you are in the chat over on Twitch, if you hear this message, predictions are open. Predictions are open. You can get your gamba going here in the chat. Place your bets on who you believe will be advancing on in qualifying. Predictions are open. For now, though, it is going to be a 2-gate opener from our players. 2-gate opener out of ButAlways, 2-gate opener out of Jim. Ooh, going for a pseudo proxy robo. Okay, ButAlways is the beginning of an all-in. This is the beginning of an all-in. We can throw down a 3rd gateway behind this. Jim, of course, he did confirm that the pylon was missing. He confirmed that that 2nd pylon is not where it should be. He's checking, he's looking for where exactly it could be thrown down, going for a Stargate opener himself, setting up for his expansion, for his Nexus. And he may believe it's going to be an expansion here. He may believe it's going to be a standard game. Yep, he's expanding. When ButAlways is going to be expanding as well. Okay, never mind. I was waiting for either a Nexus or another gateway. Looks like it's going to be a Nexus. Actually, okay, we're going for the Immortal first, then into our Nexus production. So a Robo Opener Immortal production here from our Red Protoss. We do have Phoenixes from our Blue Protoss player instead. Hallucination Scout will confirm the expansion, which means ButAlways, he is now aware. ButAlways, he's now aware that he's behind in the economy and that, of course, his opponent has Phoenixes to harass for map control. Bold move, going for a War Prism, despite the fact that we have Phoenixes out. We'll see if we can get across the map. We'll see if we can move out. Likewise, sorry, I was just setting up for the predictions, so I wasn't quite able to delve into the map itself, but we're loading into Crimson Court. This map is very interesting. We do have a pretty linear 3-base setup here, or we could mine through these walls of minerals. We have gold minerals here on the right, towards the left as well, to gain access to the other portion of the map. Basically, two-thirds of the map are completely cut off, but we can gain access to them as we are moving out across the map right through the center. 4 sentries. We have the Immortal as well. We've barely saturated that natural, but we're committing. We are moving out. Jimmy spots the army. He has a shield battery, has Nova Charge. Jim, he's ready to receive. We throw down some force fields, not ideal. A couple of force fields were baited out. Again, ideally you want to try to cut off some of these Stalkers and catch them. Stalkers did survive. Prison does pull back for a moment, going for another warp in. Force Fields made it out once again. We do go for the lift. But we're caught out. We can't quite commit. Yeah, the Immortal is lifted. We try to focus it down, but the Phoenixes are falling one after the other. And ButAlways, it looks like he's breaking through. He cleans up every single Phoenix, but he will lose the Immortal. The Immortal goes down, and Jim, he will hold. Jim, he does hold on. ButAlways bleeding out a little bit too much there, looking at the resources lost. ButAlways lost every single sentry, an Immortal, 3 Stalkers. And Jim, he has a standing army. ButAlways, no shield batteries, by the way. Uh-oh. We were not ready for this. We weren't ready back at home. Shield batteries are still on the way. There is a shield battery behind the army here at the Robo, thankfully. We do pull back to it. Immortal comes out just in time. ButAlways, he holds on. And ButAlways, he actually gets away with a higher worker count here. Did take a worker lead as Jim had to pull some boys. And the game is going to be calming down. We're going to be settling down into our 2-base setup. ButAlways getting into 2 more gateways. Getting up to 4 gates. Blink is on the horizon. Forge for +1. ButAlways, he's working towards the mid game. Meanwhile, Jim is 1 step behind. What I mean by that, Forge halfway done. Twilight Council halfway done. So there is going to be a window. There's going to be a timing when ButAlways has Blink and Jim doesn't. Oh boy. That is going to be concerning. Of course, Jim can just play defensively and just build up an Immortal count and slowly take a 3rd base and wait for his opponent to push into him and fight with the defender's advantage. But basically, ButAlways should be free to take a faster 3rd. With his map control, he should be free to expand. Speaking of, we're taking the linear 3rd. We mine through the minerals, we're taking our 3rd base. Meanwhile, Jim looks like he's setting up for his own 3rd here as well. Triangular 3rd instead. There we go, 3rd base is on the way. At around the same time. But ButAlways, his 3rd base is more secure, Jim's is more exposed. As to actually gain access and to harass this 3rd base, you have to either work through all these rocks or mine through these minerals. Something that Jim has not done, not yet. Likewise, ButAlways rotating around. Rotating around towards that 3rd. Does threaten a dive. Phoenix tries to come in from behind. We do focus it down. Phoenix does fall. And I don't think ButAlways can really commit here, by the way. He's up against 3 Immortals. Does trigger the shields, dives on top of one of the Immortals, and he will get it down. Oh, good force fields as well. ButAlways, he's popping up. Oh my god, it gets every single Immortal. Yeah, even the final 3rd one does get targeted. Very nice force fields. And with that, ButAlways, he's snowballing out of control. All it takes is one good fight. One good moment. We do see Jim with the better concave. He's trying to get us around here. He's trying to focus down at least some of those Immortals. But it's just a numbers game at this point. And Jim, yeah, it's just falling out of his hands here. It's just too much. GG gets called, and ButAlways takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Honestly, a shaky start. I was really concerned. I was concerned when ButAlways overextended, and when he threw away his first Immortal, I was concerned he was being too aggressive. But he was able to get away with a good economy and a faster 3rd base, a faster transition. ButAlways, he got away with quite a bit there early on and was able to snowball out of control. Jim did fall behind and yeah, in the end just barely wasn't able to catch up himself. Was caught out there. Again, a beautiful fight in favor of ButAlways. GG. GG, well played. With that, ButAlways takes the lead, but as a reminder, it's a best of 3. As a reminder, it is a best of 3s. Sorry, what I meant to say, as a reminder, is that it's not a best of 3, it's a best of 5, which means plenty of games. Plenty of games are available, plenty of games are ahead of us. So even with this first game in favor of ButAlways, Jim can always bring it back. Always back. And again, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for that back and forth. But now though, we're just waiting for our map to be chosen and for us to get into game number 2. Again, I'm happy to see that we have kind of spread our wings a little bit and we're trying out some of these newer maps, despite how quirky and unorthodox they are. We've seen at least Crimson Courts, and it's a best of 5, so we should be seeing some of the other newer maps as well. We have seen Post-Youth today. We haven't seen Amphion yet. Not today, at least. I've yet to experience Amphion. We'll get there, I'm sure. We will get there. Till then, hope everyone has been enjoying themselves. I do apologize because I do know that World Team League is also happening at the same time. I would have loved to have casted the World Team League qualifiers, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe that we are the only English stream covering these EPT Spring qualifiers, which is a shame. It is a shame that we're the only English casters, but, you know, because of that... but because of that, you know, we were committed here, right? It's like, I believe Rotterdam and Steadfast, they're covering WTL, and then if we weren't here, then this wouldn't be casted, period. Like, there just wouldn't be English coverage, so we had a choice. We could cast WTL as well, or we could jump on the EPT Spring qualifiers, and of course, we had to go for the qualifiers. I don't want to leave our region, I don't want to leave them hanging, so we're here for them. We're here for the Asia region. Always, always. And game 2, we have our map. We are loading in as we've switched colors. Lovely. God damn it. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, in the bottom right, we have our Chinese Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Team PCEC. It is Jim. Down in this series, but not out. Not by any means. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Taiwanese Protoss player, the blue Protoss. I believe currently teamless. Let me just double check that. Yes, currently teamless, but leading the series 1-0. It is ButAlways. Let's go. Again, ButAlways with a very unorthodox style in game 1. It was very chaotic and very hard to read, but was able to take a win there. And can we keep it going? Can we get a clean sweep here? Or will Jim fight back? And I'm hoping we can fight back. I'm hoping for a back and forth. I'm greedy like that. I want some more StarCraft. But we'll see. My nose, but we'll keep our eye on our players, as it is going to be a 2-gate opener out of ButAlways, a 2-gate opener out of Jim. Now, as a reminder, last game ButAlways did hide his second pylon here behind his mineral line to make it look like a 1-base all-in. Once again, ButAlways, he hides the pylon. In game 1, he faked a 1-base all-in. This time, I think he's going to commit. This time, the pylon is out in the center of the map. Of course, Jim does confirm. He knows that the pylon is missing. The problem is that last game was a fake proxy. This time, is it real or is it fake once again? Gateways on Cybercore is done, waiting for a little bit more gas before we can afford our structure. And there it is, Proxy Robo, 1-base all-in from ButAlways. Jim, for now, has no idea. He's scouting. He's checking here with his probe. He does skirt around the edge of the map here towards the left hand side, checks the Zelnaga in case the gold was taken. So Jimmy does confirm everything on the left. Typically you would send out a second probe and scout on the right. You would typically scout on the right hand side. That has not been happening. Jim, he has not gone for that. He's being a little bit risky here. You can see him scouting in the center of the map, but he misses the proxy. Third gateway has been thrown down. We have confirmation. It is a one base all in from ButAlways. And we'll see if Jim can hold as he's setting up to expand here on the low ground. Yeah, expansion's on the way. Stargate has completed. And if we don't go for a Void Ray, yeah, we're going for a Phoenix first. This is going to be a tough hold. Not impossible, but it is going to be tough. Probe Scout gets into the main base. Big Scout there out of Jim. Yeah, shield battery's on the way. He knows. He now knows. He saw the lack of tech. He saw the lack of expansion. He knows that it must be proxied. He's getting ready for the all-in. He's looking for where it could be. Now, this Phoenix will allow us to shut down the Prism. The Phoenix can also CC and crowd control some of these Stalkers. Ooh, this Sentry is an interesting one. Now, Force Fields are king in the early game because there's no blink. There's no way to bypass a Force Field. And we are pushing in. Threatening a dive. Do we try to Force Field the ramp? How do we approach this? Jimmy's got 2, now 3 Phoenixes. That's a pretty hefty army that Jim's working with. Pretty comparable here too, ButAlways. ButAlways blinking his heart out here with his Prism. Overcharge is pumped. Yeah, we can maintain ourselves, and ButAlways, ooh, is being forced back. Yeah, one Stalker does fall. We're going for another warp in. But ButAlways is losing a little momentum. He's bleeding out a little bit too much. Yeah, Stalkers, they're getting targeted down one after the other, and Jim, he shuts this down completely. GG gets called, the all-in fails, and Jim ties up the series at 1-1. GG. Again, ButAlways trying to force the issue there. Did bleed out a lot of Stalkers in the first push, trying to break that shield battery, trying to break the overcharge. And the Phoenixes, they allowed Jim to zone away the Prism to make sure that ButAlways could not get into the main base. I think that was another goal for ButAlways, was maybe to slip into the main, but Phoenixes were just zoning him away. Really solid defense there out of Jim. Really nice cleanup. GG. GG, well played. Ooh, we're tied up 1-1. And the question becomes, who will take a lead in the series? Who will advance on, or who will take a lead here to have a more solid approach and to have momentum coming into Game 4? This could still swing in either direction. What I will say though is, after the failed all-in from ButAlways, I doubt we're going to be seeing another all-in. I do doubt it from ButAlways. And I apologize, I'm still dying a little bit. Yo, I've been sick like over a week. It's crazy. I got back what a week and a half ago essentially, and yeah, I've still been sick the entire time, still recovering. Hopefully we'll get better soon. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, Pappy. Fingers crossed. As we're getting into game number 3 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have a Taiwanese Protoss. A red Protoss player representing himself, currently teamless, and being forced into a tied-up series here. Can he bounce back? It is ButAlways. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Chinese Protoss player tying up the series 1-1, shutting down that all-in and fighting back here in this best of 5. The Chinese Protoss, it is a Jim. Here we go. Here we go as Jim, he does actually decide to mine through these minerals, skirts his probe around the right hand side of the map. Now, this could be for a fake proxy or a real one, and judging on where the probe is headed, this is a prime location for a proxy Stargate. Again, rush distance by air is quite short, and in the beginning of the last map pool, when this map was introduced, it was very common to go for a proxy Stargate here in this location. So common that it became a little bit too obvious and it fell out of fashion. It fell out of favor. But now that it's been so long, now wouldn't be a bad time to bring it back, as we're going for a proxy versus a proxy. Let's go. Pylon has been thrown down here by Jim. Pylon has been thrown down for ButAlways. Now, this location for ButAlways should be a robo. I say should. It could also be a Twilight Council, or just a gateway with a Twilight Council back at home for Blink. Regardless, based on this position, it looks to be committed. It looks like a one base all in. We're waiting for the Cybercore. Cybercore is done. There is that Stargate for Jim. Now, Proxy Stargate is not all in. The purpose of the Stargate is to make an Oracle, to cripple the economy of his opponent, and to get into our expansion and to get into a longer game. So this is a macro build out of Jim, just designed to harass early on and be aggressive. Meanwhile, ButAlways is going for an all in. Now, there's a give and take here. On the one hand, yes, ButAlways will have a stronger army and he will be able to break through, potentially. The downside is that, will ButAlways realize what's going on? If he has nothing at home to defend, his economy will be crippled. This Oracle could pop off and kill everything. You may be thinking, does the economy really matter too much here for ButAlways? The answer is yes. When you're all in, your economy is that much more important because you have so little to work with. Every probe counts. This all in is so crisp, it's so on the line here that a one base can afford to produce from, that if you lose so many probes, then suddenly you can't afford to go all in. You can't afford to actually produce from your three gateways. And the Oracle has arrived. We are in position. Shield batteries on the way. Good read out of ButAlways. Very nice read here. We do get 2 probe kills. The Oracle backs off. ButAlways, he was in position. Again, he was not able to get into the main base, but he was just prepared here for the worst. Did confirm that the wall was open. And now he's able to get into his own all-in. Prism is on the way. Shield battery has been thrown down. Jim, he hasn't seen the proxy, but he knows that something is wrong.
Research complete.
Something is wrong. Something is up. Yep, safety robo on the way for Jim. This is for Immortal production. Longer this goes on, better it's going to be for Jim. As with this robo, he will gain access to Immortals, and Immortals, they chew away, they just shut down Stalkers so hard. Shield battery is done. Can ButAlways pull this off? There's a 3rd gateway on the way. Now the Observer does provide high ground vision. Force Field zones away the tries to zone away the Stalkers, unable to though. Yeah, Jimmy's holding. Jimmy is holding on. Gateway taking some extra hits. Oracle's coming back in, but we have left some Stalkers back at him to defend. Yeah, the gateway, it looks like it is going to go down. Oracle tries to go into the main base. It does get denied. But now we have an Immortal. Now we have an Observer. We deny the Observer of ButAlways, and this is looking a little bit dire here. Still has those force fields. Bear that in mind. What's important, if ButAlways can somehow cut this army in half, he can snowball. He can take a fight and then keep pushing. These sentries, they do give a lot of potential to ButAlways. Meanwhile, the Oracle comes in from behind. We're focusing down the pylon. We won't quite get it. We force a defensive warp in. To force that defensive warp in. Likewise, ButAlways leaving a Stalker back to defend. More Immortals are on the way for both players. Looking at the units tab here. Army supplies is pretty comparable. Bold move out of Jim, going for it. No, Jim moves out with the prism. That's 2 immortals. Oh, we're gonna shut this down. We should shut this down. Yeah, 1 immortal falls. At least we're able to trade. Prism trying to come in from behind to pick it up. Oh my god. Jim, he should have lost this. Like, ButAlways, alas, he was asleep at the wheel. The prism does escape somehow, some way. That was almost game. If Jim had lost the prism with both immortals in it for free, that would have been it. That would have been game. Jim still in this, diving in the army. Good juggling out of ButAlways, but the immortals are getting very low. Yeah, stalkers, they're breaking through. Jim forcing back the army. We have a flanking immortal. Let's go. We come in for the flank. We shut down some of these stalkers. ButAlways in a lot of trouble. They're being forced all the way back. At the same time, ButAlways going for his own immortal drop across the map as well. We have a pseudo base trade as ButAlways, he's trying to expand, but there's no way for him to actually get this base up and running. There's no saving this natural. Immortals, they are killing probes. And this base is buying some time. We have more shield batteries on the way. We have a couple of stalkers as well. ButAlways, he's doing a lot of damage. He forces a recall. Does force a recall back home. We still have 1 base versus 1 base. But Jim, he's down to 18 probes. He has spotted the proxy. Unable to shut it down yet. I'm sure he's tempted. Phoenixes are on the way. Let's go. The Phoenix should force a recall. Assuming that we do have one available. Yeah, we do. And what does Jim do from here is the question. As the Phoenix has arrived, do we recall in time? Yeah, Phoenix is going for it. Prism under fire. Oh wait, we're gonna be unloading instead. Oh my god. A crazy move here. We go for the unload. Prism is gonna go down. And that's an expensive loss. 2 immortals fall. We had a recall. I guess maybe we had. It looks like we had spent energy. It looks like maybe we had just used a chrono boost. Aye. And now, ButAlways, he's in a lot of trouble. Down in immortals. Has a shield battery, has the overcharge. But Jim, he knows, he smells blood in the water. He knows how vulnerable his opponent is. Yeah, we go for the dive. Force fields are thrown down. We have the overcharge as well. But the immortal is lifted. We can lift it again for a second time. And Jim, he's just brute forcing his way through. He doesn't even care about the overcharge. He ignores it. And he has far too much. There are soldiers coming from behind. We're pulling the boys. We go for the prism. Prism goes down. But it looks like Jim still has far too much. GG and Jim. He survives the 1 base all in. He does take a lead in the series. GG. GG, well played. Again, Jim able to weather the storm, able to survive, shut down the all-in, and we saw some questionable fights there out of ButAlways. I mean, it could have gone either way. There was a lot of chaotic moments for both players, true. Jim almost lost both of his immortals, ButAlways did lose both of his immortals. Get a very chaotic game there. Very back and forth in the end. Jim does take it, but it's a best of 5. Jim needs 1 more. Jim, he needs 1 more to win it all, to qualify for the closed qualifier, but always has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. And We've been trying out these all-ins. They have not been working. I'm hoping that we stop with the all-ins and we try to go for a longer game instead. But it's on ButAlways. We'll see how he approaches this. So we're getting into game number 4. Game numero 4 here is upon us. Oh boy. I'm hoping for an ace match. I'm hoping that ButAlways he can bring it back and not go for a 1-base all-in, but we'll see. We shall see. They changed colors again. God damn it. Every time. Every goddamn time. But here we go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, of Oceanborn, we have our Chinese Protoss player. 1 game away, by the way. Now the red player, not the blue, but 1 game away from qualifying for the closed qualifier for ESL Masters Spring of 2024 for DreamHack Dallas. Can he make it to that closed qualifier? Will he have a chance to make it even further in this tournament? It is Jim. 1 more is all he needs. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, now the blue Protoss player, the Taiwanese Protoss. The pressure is on. He has to fight back here and now to force that ace match. It is ButAlways. Here we go. ButAlways, we have to bounce back here and now. And again, I'm hoping that we don't proxy this time. I just saw the chat. Poor Lemon got squeezed for all his juice. Oh, the juice, papi. True. That was beautiful. Beautiful comment. He's doing it again, by the way. ButAlways, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Going for the proxy pylon out in the center of the map. Oh boy, we are going to be committing here. And once again, we're setting up for a proxy. Once again, we're setting up for an all-in. Oh boy. No, not again, papi, not again. Meanwhile, Jim is skirting around the edge of the map here. He did confirm that the pylon was missing, and he's looking for it on the right-hand side. We can see that once again, it's a proxy robo. It's a 1-base all-in from ButAlways. But Jim is checking. No shot for the first time this series. Jim, he will confirm and come across the proxy robo. He sees, he knows.
I am here in the shadows.
Fully aware what's going on. Jim tasing away at that probe, but ButAlways, the jig is up. Throwing down a 3rd gateway here. Oh my god, he's doubling down. Very aggressive out of ButAlways. Jim throws down his own pylon. ButAlways has arrived. He should be able to shut down the probe at least. Both probes even. Jim trying to get some hits in. Comes in with 2 more Stalkers. He has a Stalker lead. Has the advantage, ButAlways he has reinforcements on the way, but he loses control of the robo. Ooh, Chrono Boost gets wasted there. And ButAlways even gets supply blocked. A big supply block here for our blue Protoss player. We catch out the Stalkers. This is going from bad to worse. Stalkers are going down for free. You have to kill our own pylon, which means we stay supply blocked. Stalkers, they have arrived. Not like this. We take down 2 more Stalkers and a 3rd Stalker as well. This is becoming too much. Yeah, reinforcements on the way. Warp Gate is about to finish. And we can warp in. But we still get so many free shots in. Jimmy just maintains his lead. More reinforcements on the way. And in a mirror matchup, when you take a loss, when you take a deficit, it's just so difficult to recover from. As we kill every single Stalker. You can see Jim just consolidating his army, bringing everything together. We should have time to warp in. There we go, 3 Stalkers on the way. But behind this Jim, he's expanding. Like Jim, he doesn't have to end the game. He doesn't have to kill his opponent. All he has to do is expand, make some probes, and just get further ahead. That is all that matters. Jim did invest into his Stargate, and the Oracles haven't done much. So I will say that at least this tech hasn't really been too impactful from the side of Jim. These Oracles have not paid for themselves. And we're still all in. We're in for a second Robo in the main base. So second Robo here for ButAlways. We have the Bay on the way. That's going to be for Disruptors. We're going for a depth straight for Stalker Rats across the map. The Oracles, they do spot the Robo. They confirm that there is still no expansion. ButAlways looks like he wants to try to catch the Oracles. Gets one! Gets one Oracle, and it looks like he is catching the second. Big moves here out of ButAlways. Gets both Oracles. And again, this Stargate opener just wasn't worth it. Like, we didn't get a single probe kill. Didn't get any value for those Oracles. That's a nice little win here for ButAlways. Not enough to bring him back, but it is the first step. The first step here is ButAlways is moving out. Disruptor has arrived. One good Nova here in a mirror line. And he can catch up in the economy. Remember, Blink isn't done. We could even go for the main army. Disruptor is revealed. Jim with a solid concave. Nova goes off, gets one Stalker. And ButAlways has to back off. Does have to respect this. Now, I do appreciate that Jim is still making use of that Stargate and we're getting into Phoenixes. This is going to be much more impactful. Phoenixes, they can harass. Yes, they can at least harass and pick off some workers, but they can also CC. They can lift up the Disruptors, of course. Disable them. And cancel those Purification Overs. They can zone away the War Prism. They can zone it away. As we up to a second Disruptor. It's moving out. Adepts, they threaten to shade into the main. There it goes off. We catch a Phoenix. Big pick off. Bit of a miss rally there from Jim. Throwing away a Phoenix. Behind this, yo, Colossus production on the way. We're finally expanding, getting our base up and running. ButAlways, he's still in this. He's behind, don't get me wrong. ButAlways, he is behind. He has the worst economy, but he has potential. What I will say is that these Disruptors, they aren't really the best way to come back right now, just because of how many Phoenixes there are. I like the Colossus. I like the Colossi, like a really good way to make use of our tech and to diversify our army. But we could settle in towards a longer game. We could be in for a longer one here. As Jim has yet to take a third. We should be expanding and taking a third base soon. Jim has the money for it. Gonna be taking instead. Likewise, ButAlways moving out with his main force as well. Means they pick off a couple of units across the map. 5 probes. We get 5 worker kills. ButAlways moving out with his main army. Takes away the Phoenixes. Disruptors are getting ready. Show us the Novas. Force fields just zoning back the army for now. Good force fields here from ButAlways. Buying some time. Once again, going to be engaging your pieces. They try to go for the Colossus. Nova goes up. Big connections here. Stalkers go down. Only one Nova connects though. Only one Nova does connect, and Jimmy started stepping forward here with his Immortals. Does focus down to every single disruptor. And again, the Colossus on its own is not going to be enough. Jim, he shuts this down. GG gets called, and Jim will qualify for ESL Masters Spring, the Asia Closed Qualifier. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here. Congratulations to Jim as he does take the series 3-1 qualifying here for the closed qualifier. My condolences to ButAlways. He did pose a threat. He did make it here to a qualifying match, and ButAlways looked damn good in game 1. But remember, in game 1, ButAlways went for like a two base aggression and 2 base all in. Every game thereafter, 1 base all ins, non-stop 1 base all ins out of ButAlways. I was hoping that that ButAlways would divert away, that he would pivot away from the non-stop 1 base all ins, but alas, that clearly did not happen. It clearly didn't happen, and with that, congratulations to Jim again. ButAlways, he can always return. He can always return in a couple of days. He can always return tomorrow for the second open qualifier. And it looks like we have more results coming in. We have every other match wrapping up. Rex took down Moku 3-1. Rex also qualified for the closed qualifier, so did Rewhite. Taking down Pez 3-0. And the third player was Jim over ButAlways, and the final player to qualify here for the closed qualifier is Honmono, taking down both Expect and Nashin 3-0 and 2-0 respectively. Hangmono himself has also made it into the closed qualifier. GG, well played. Again, congratulations to Rex, Rewhite, Jim, and Honmono. And if you're a fan of some of these other players that didn't make it through, players like Nashin, ButAlways, Pez, Azure, Moku, and many others, they will have another chance tomorrow in the second open qualifier. Tomorrow. There we go. Aye. GG, well played. Meanwhile, when it comes to this channel, we're going to be going offline for the time being. There is the Europe qualifier starting up in a couple of hours. Let me just double check. The Europe qualifier is starting up in 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna be resting. Again, I'm still coughing. I'm still sick. I've been unwell. I think I've just gotten the flu or a variation of COVID, and I've just been unwell ever since returning to Australia. It's been over a week. I've been stuck with this cough for over a week, and it's been brutal. Like I've been barely able to sleep because of it. It's not good. So in 2.5 hours is the European qualifier. I will be awake for it. We'll wait and see. If I'm feeling up for it, then I will cast it. Otherwise, I might rest. I might rest my voice instead. I might, just try to calm things down. And I might be back for the Americas qualifier instead. So, keep an eye on our social media, and we'll play it by ear. I'll either be casting EU and Americas, or I'll be casting only Americas. Still undecided. Still undecided with how things will go. Again, it depends how we feel. Depends how I feel. We'll see. Regardless, congratulations to all of our players that made it through today. Again, the WTL qualifier is currently ongoing as well. I would have liked so many good matches. I would have loved to have cast them, but it looks like they just wrapped up. Yeah, it looks like they literally just wrapped up. Okay, never mind. Looks like... Yeah, it does look like the WTL qualifiers have also concluded. I would have loved to have casted some of these games. Looks like some really good matches Would have been a lot of good fun. Would have been a lot of good fun. But regardless, okay, we're going to be wrapping up. We're going to be wrapping up for now. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for the support. Again, we're going to be back in either in 2.5 hours for the European qualifier, or we're going to be back later on tonight in 7.5 hours for the Americas qualifier. Again, one or the other. We'll see. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for the support. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Take care of yourselves. Drink plenty of water. Get your snacks ready. You know, drain your disruptors. Pet your probes. Look after them. We'll be back soon, TM, with some more StarCraft. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hasta luego.